What is up, everyone, and welcome to the first round of the wild card between the Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs. I am Eddie King, joined in the booth with ZBD. What's up, man? How's it going? Absolutely. This should be a fun one here. I think you guys should be good with the audio now. I don't know if it picked up there, but Z just stated it should be a fun one, and I agree. Interesting weather right now. We've got some rain, which will be interesting to see kind of how that plays out for the rest of the game.
Yeah, rain. The rain's going to make it a very interesting game for sure. You're going to have there's a chance receivers are going to start slipping around, and it can definitely play an effect on the passing game. As we see handoff right off left side there
Yep.
by KP, gets him about 3 yards.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think the rain kind of changes things up here as we kind of progress forward. I think it's going to force a little bit more running here. But you'll see here, KP comes out in a double tight formation, looking to throw the ball, looking, scanning, finds his tight end almost wide open, and gets himself a couple yards there for a first down.
Great read there by KP, finding that tight end right down the seam, even as QP tried to shut the door on that route and make it harder for it to be seen. But great timing by QP by KP. Excuse me, God, I hope I don't get that
Yeah, I
mixed up
mean,
too much.
QPKP, I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I hope that doesn't get mixed up too much. But yeah, no, great job on the timing there, making the read in time and in rhythm.
Yeah, as we see there, draw play, 2nd and 9, really no yards there. Um, before the game started, my prediction was it's going to be a defensive battle. Both of these guys can play some pretty good defense.
Mhm.
But now with the rain, I think even more to the point, I think defense is going to make the big difference here for this matchup,
Yeah.
just with so much rain.
No, I agree completely. I mean, I think the rain can definitely play a role. It'll definitely have an effect, especially on the more downfield throws. They're like 20 yards
Yep.
downfield. It's going to be a lot harder for the ball to be for the pass to be completed. So I think the
Yeah.
rain will definitely play a factor.
And as you see there, again, a long throw there, corner route, had his man, but he drops it. Can be attributed to the rain or just the contact there. Tough play. We get a 3rd and 9 now, so we'll see what.
Looked like he was going for the possession catch there too, and it just
Yeah,
got knocked out.
it's just one of those bang bang plays, especially in the rain. You just notice a lot more drops, a little bit more
Yeah.
than most times. So again, here we see KP comes out in a single type tight end formation. Um, Kind of a tight formation there to the left. He's looking, scanning, and QP gets a really good pass rush there, 4th and 9, and we have our first punt of the game.
Great job on the rush there by QP, especially right up the middle over the center. Over 99 is he got off the block of the center real quick, and it basically forced KP to have to throw that sooner than he wanted.
Yeah, definitely. And now you see that punt kicks it out to the 31. Don't really want anyone returning. Honestly, in a rain game, though, I don't mind a nice little punt return and letting them return it just because if you try to move around a little bit too much with those guys, they slip up. Chance for a fumble,
Yeah,
maybe, just got to play the cards that you're dealt. So
yeah.
now we see here QP comes out in a pistol formation back behind him. He's looking, scanning, finds a guy up the seam, gets a completion, and passes the 50-yard line down to the 41.
Great job there by Q. I'm gonna get this mixed up all game, and I know it. Good job there by QP hitting the seam route, but by that slot receiver.
Yep.
But slot receiver, he basically threw it. It looked like he almost hot routed that onto a straight up seam route because you look at the play
Yep.
diagram, that looks more like it's supposed to be an in cut, and he threw it before the in break.
Yeah.
But great job there finding a guy who was wide open and allowing him to make the catch in a way where he could continue to run after the catch.
And again, see here, kind of looking, scanning, finds a guy in the flat, comes out in that pistol formation again, maybe looking to make some quick reads at this point in time. Again, it's kind of looking like the Los Angeles Chiefs out there, or really the Kansas City Chargers. You've got Lad McConkey and Justin Herbert. He's been a guy that, I mean, Q has cycled through. a ton of quarterbacks this year, and maybe Herbert's the guy that he's been looking for so far. So we'll see as he comes out at another pistol set formation we've already seen a couple times today.
Herbert's just such a good. He's so consistent passing wise
Yes.
too. Like, and I'm thinking back on my time using the Chargers last year as that pass rush consultant forces him to throw it away. But like, he's just so consistent in terms of his delivery. It allowed him to. It allows him to really just kind of know where the ball is going to go and when it'll get there in terms of the timing on it. And I think that's such a huge thing for quarterbacks is knowing the timing of when the route will be at the location it needs to be at.
Yeah. Absolutely. Timing's huge on offense. Again, we see him tight end formation. He's got trips left with a nub tight end to the boundary. Gun formation, looking, scanning. Looks like he's running verticals. Finds a man up the seam, and he scores a touchdown. QP strikes. First point of the game, 6-0.
Great job there by QP taking advantage of that seam, taking advantage of that seam route and noticing how the free safety stayed wide over that second vertical and then just firing it right down that seam stretch in between the two safeties once the receiver cleared the linebacker level.
Yeah, definitely a really good read there. That's one of those hot routes that you make that's your first read, and all you're looking for is that linebacker or safety. If you think you see cover two, or if you think you see a window, you hot route that guy up the seam, or you do something along those lines to make sure that you maybe make a play there. So again, good read there by Q. KP comes out maybe with an opportunity to strike back, takes the ball down to the 30.
Yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see how this goes as the game progresses because this weather will play a role in
Yeah.
route running. You're going to have receivers slipping. Sometimes in weather like this, it may just be better to fire those to use those routes that don't have as sharp of cuts to them,
Yep.
so that way you reduce the amount of a chance that players are falling down.
Wow, and he finds a man up the seam himself. KP is running, going 5-10 touchdown, and he looks to tie it up with the same route that he got scored on. Great read and a great ball.
Right as we were just talking about it too. Straight up seam route right down the seam there by 86 by Felton, excuse me. Just great job of attacking there. QP bit up just enough to where once he got behind him, it was over at that point.
Yeah, and absolutely. Again, two great plays there. The seams look to be open early and often here. I think both of them completed two passes, two big passes as well here. So we see KP kicks it just to the corner of the end zone. Touchback there, ball at the 35.
It's been interesting to watch some of these kickoffs. I've been trying to figure out how some of these guys do it where they just pin you inside the 5 on the kickoff, and I haven't
Yeah.
been able to figure it out all year.
Yeah, I mean they're tough. You want to get it right on the
Yeah.
goal line. It just depends on your kicker as well. If you have a
Yeah.
kicker who has a really big leg, it's a little bit easier to control.
Hmm.
But yeah, again we see here, Q comes out in pistol, hands the ball off to his running back, cuts it inside, breaks a tackle, breaks another tackle, and almost gets that first down. I mean, just fighting for every single yard there.
Yeah, that's another thing I've noticed, especially as we get later into the cycle. You're having more and more of those type of runs where you got the running back just pinballing off of
Hmm.
tackler after tackler, and it takes like two, three, four attempts to get the guy down.
Yep.
Great job hitting the hole initially there by QB though.
Agreed, and I actually think he had a little bit of an opportunity. He kind of ran into the back of his guy, which kind of set him up to pinball a little bit there. But again, good read, puts himself in a position where now he can either take a shot or hand the ball off. As an offensive coordinator, second and one, you're usually in a pretty good spot. So he's looking, scanning, finds a running back out of the backfield, and he's down to the 39, two first downs, or an early first down here on this drive. QP's driving.
Yet another good read there by QP. It feels like he's really locked in, especially through the air. I mean, we've seen him drop back to pass on like almost all of his plays so far. I think he's only run it once or twice.
Yep.
And I think he's identified that that's the way he wants to attack here today. Find a way to attack that KP coach defense that's been so tough against the pass all season long.
Yeah, again, a top five really in passing yards there for KP, being able to play that defense. So a really good pass defense, like you mentioned. Again, QP comes out in a double tight pistol formation, hands it off to the inside, cuts back inside, finds a lane, and he's running, and he gets himself a nice first down. QP with some really good ball carrier vision right now.
It looked like it was that looked like it was a yeah, it looked like it was a dive play to the right side of the line. For some reason, my stream feed just almost went into its whole buffering mode for no reason.
Yeah.
But great job there by QP of cutting it back and then
Oh,
weaving his way up the middle.
he finds another one. Good cut. Again, the block set up perfectly. Touchdown here for Kansas City. Find one in the air early and then runs this one in for a big play.
The vision by QP there, just
Yeah.
bouncing it right to the outside, reading the blocker, and just setting it up so that we had almost a wall to the inside part of the field. Great job.
Absolutely. Great run there. Again, if you're KP, you got to try to find something here. I mean, you've given up two drives, two touchdowns. Seemingly, QP hasn't really had to fight for anything yet. So if you're KP, do you think you feel a little bit nervous right now that you can't stop his offense, or do you feel strong enough in your offense that you'll be fine to answer back?
I think it's too early to really start feeling nervous, but he definitely is going to have to find a way to make an adjustment here.
Yeah.
I mean, it looked like that drive he started to try to adjust more to how QP had come out, and it's just in such a pass happy mood, especially given the weather. And QP then just took advantage of it and just made some beautiful cuts with the running back. So I mean, he has to make an adjustment on defense, but stay confident. You've been able to move the ball somewhat yourself. Just be patient and keep fighting. I mean, you got to find a way to get a stop at some point, but you've been able to move the ball.
Absolutely. And again, you see here, KP sticks to the ground, gets a nice 5 yards. I mean, that's a good five that you're looking for. Now he's looking here. He's got a tight end in the formation towards the strong side. Wide receivers out. Play action pass. Looking. A defensive lineman free just off of the edge. No one blocks him. And it's a huge sack. 3rd and 16.
I almost feel like in that situation, one big thing, especially in this type of weather, is knowing where your checkdowns are.
Yeah.
Like on that play, he had the fullback out in the flat if he hits him, and the moment you see that that defensive lineman is breaking free and is coming right at you, you almost have to take the dump off there.
Yep.
That's a huge loss of yardage.
I agree. 3rd and 16 now. He's looking. He has a tight formation. Tight end to the field. Has a backswing out. Looks for a man underneath. He finds a seam again, and it's intercepted. Great play by QP here in his CPU as he's looking to return it for some big yardage and putting himself in a solid position to capitalize off of a turnover.
I'm not sure what KP saw that made him think that route was open. That linebacker was dropping
Oh,
back and carrying that seam route the whole way.
yep.
If he had maybe a little bit better throw, he had a better chance at completing it. But the odds of it being completed, given how that linebacker was carrying it, would have been slim. And great play there by QP to make a play on that ball.
Absolutely. I think that's tough. I think sometimes you think your slot's faster than a linebacker, but later in this cycle, most guys already have a solid linebacker with speed as well. And that's one of those guys. It's tough to complete a pass here as Q comes out and gun, looks for a man, finds his tight end down underneath, and he gets himself nice 6 yards. And really, to talk to that, KP is really not a guy who turns the ball over a ton. I mean, we'll go ahead and transition over to our neon vision here so you guys can kind of see statistically. Up at the top, we have QP, and right underneath, we have KP. KP does a really good job at protecting the ball. I mean, he had 35 touchdowns or 38 touchdowns to only 6 interceptions this year. So that turnover could be costly. He's been a guy that's protected the ball really on the other side of the equation. Herbert on QP side of the house, 39 touchdowns to 16 interceptions. So
Mhm.
really, it's protecting the ball as early as we can and seeing which one of these guys can try to force turnovers and capitalize off of those.
Yeah, and especially in the playoffs in the here in the SML, it's so important to not make that backbreaking mistake. Like you have to find a way to avoid making those mistakes and limit those turnovers here. And when you're already down by 7 here and QP's been moving the ball at will, you got to make each possession count. And making a mistake like that could be a backbreaker, especially this early on if QP goes up by 14.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, again, he's found himself in a really good spot here. 1st and 10 on the 24-yard line. Tight formation, two tight ends. Looks like he's running a form of bench. Finds his running back out there, throws it out, and he actually loses a yard. Good play there by KP.
Good job reacting by that linebacker out there,
Mhm.
getting out into the flat, by edge defender, excuse me, getting out into the flat, not falling for it, and coming up and making the tackle quickly, forcing a loss of yard there.
Yeah, I think a guy you have to watch out here for too, if you're KP, is that running back. A solid running back here. Had himself almost 1,000 yards, and again the vision, and he finds himself. And just as I say that, the running back runs and scores a touchdown. Just a guy who actually had a pretty average year, to be honest, but is killing it right now in the playoffs.
You said it, Eddie. Great vision there by 28, making that cut in the backfield to get out of the backfield first off, and then making that second cut and making the secondary defender miss after he had shed the block of the receiver.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll transition here again to the big screen for the game as we kind of talk through some of those stats. But again, QP really in control right now. He's forced a turnover.
Yeah.
He's been able to run the ball at will and do whatever he wants to do. So it'll really be interesting to see how this plays out, and if KP can find a way to prevent turning the ball over and making some plays.
Turnovers will get you beat, especially in the playoffs. Any time of year they'll get you beat, especially in this league. But in
Yes.
the playoffs, even where everything's on the line, every game, you win or you go home, those little mistakes can prove costly and can prove the difference between giving yourself a chance to advance, to survive in advance, and just being sent over to Cabo with
Yep.
all the other losing teams.
Yep. Absolutely. So we see here a little counterplay from under center. KP may be looking to try to get his run game going a little bit as he sees that Q is just running all over him.
That was a great job there. I don't know if you saw it, but great job there by the strong safety of coming up and making a run fit. The entire D line got washed out to the left
Yep.
and left a pretty clear lane, but that strong safety came up and made the tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you have one of those guys, really, those safeties or alley fillers, depending on what the defense he's running there, if he's running a buzz or anything like that. But that's the alley guy, and he went in and he made his play. So,
Mhm.
again, under center here, looking to drop back, 7-step drop back, finds his tight end down in the shallow, runs, gets himself a first down, and a little bit of a nice little throw there. Just gets himself something to keep the chains moving.
Mhm. Yeah, great job there by KP being patient, especially on that drop. He found the tight end underneath and then made a little bit of a move after the catch, make the guy miss, get himself the first down. Drive starter like that, or rather a drive extender like that, could help him start building momentum in the right way.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, hands the ball off, gains himself 5 yards. Again, 5 yards is a good spot to be. If you can get yourself anywhere 4 to 5 yards on a handoff, puts you in a good spot for second down. So did have a lane there, kind of ran into the back of his own guys. So we'll see what he does.
Yeah.
Comes out under center in a tight formation, looking
Yeah,
just to
that
get a quick
that
throw.
run, that run, if you looked at how the
Oh
defenders were playing
no,
it, it had so much more potential as we see. Oh no. Oh no. I don't think he meant to do that.
I don't think he did either. That's just such an unfortunate throw there. He had triangle wide open
Oh yeah,
for a
no,
first down.
he had a wide open guy for first down, and I don't know what happened. Like
That is
that reminded me of one of my worst INTs this year. Holy crap!
that
Like,
is unfortunate, and that's one of those where you throw the ball, and as soon as you release it, you just know what's going to happen. And again, Q finds a seam, and I think
mhm,
he's just going to try to keep pounding on those seams, and then hand the ball off
yeah,
here. Again, mentioned it earlier, needs to watch that running back here inside the
yep,
20, 25.
yep. Great job again on the read there by QP, getting the ball over the linebacker drop, trying to drop underneath it, but then possession catching it with McConkey to make sure that he got the ball in and got down before it could get knocked loose by that free safety.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't really love the user there. He kind of moved his user into the box, which I kind of
Mhm,
understand, but also you gave up that
Yep,
seam. So again,
yep,
Q hands the ball off, breaks some tackles, and gains 5 yards.
yep. I mean, Madden gives and Madden takes. Like in a time like this where it's an inside zone run, you have the advantage of numbers in the box. If this was real life, in theory, it'd be the free defender who would have the chance to make a play on the back. But
Yep.
as we know, Madden is not real life, and backs are known to pinball off the tackles this cycle, especially at this point.
Yep, absolutely. And you will see here, Q's going to come out in a pistol set as well, with kind of like that wing formation. So we'll see what KP comes up here on defense, tries to stack the box as best he can. Got formation into the boundary here for QP. Looks like he's making some adjustments. Hands it off to the running back. Running back has a lane, but KP's defense does a really good job of slowing him down for only a yard of
Great
one.
job there by that defensive back, hanging out on the edge almost as if he's in contain, and then closing that down and forcing the back and preventing the back from getting outside freely.
Absolutely here. So big third down here. Want to try to hold them to a field goal as best you can. We're gonna see here. Q comes out in a shotgun formation, tight end of the boundary, two wide receiver set to the field, making some adjustments here. KP presses the defense. Looks like he's running man coverage. Q is scanning, looking, finds a guy, incomplete pass. Big stop here for KP.
Good defense there by KP's corner. He found a way to get him to knock that ball down and force QP to settle for three. But this next drive coming up here for KP is absolutely critical. He has to get a touchdown on this drive. Otherwise, I don't know if he'll have the chance to come back.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough one here for him. He has to capitalize this next upcoming drive. I would say
Yep.
he needs at least three, but really at this stage of the game, he needs seven.
He needs seven.
He
Yeah,
needs to
I
put
agree.
himself in a good spot here coming out of the next half. So we'll see as his guy
Yeah.
misses a block and he's down at the 21-yard line.
10 points is manageable. 10 points is definitely manageable. 14,
Yep.
especially since I think QP gets the ball after half, 14 is going to be difficult. So you definitely want to try to make it into like a 10-point game or something along those lines
Yep.
and give yourself a shot.
Yeah. 10 points is something that, okay, if I give up 10 points, I'm at 10. Q gets the ball back. He gets a field goal, 13, still manageable. If you're anything over that, it's tough. So again, KP comes out in shotgun, finds a man, gets a first down, and he's looking to kind of work the clock. I think if you're KP here, you have to try to leave the minimum amount of time as possible at the end of the quarter here.
Good drive starter there by KP, finding the dragging outside receiver. QP left it open, took advantage of what he was given.
Finds his running back, his X Factor's activated, and he runs for a big first down, gets 10 yards there, first and 10 at the 43-yard line.
Good call there. Audibled into that run play too. Got
Mm-hmm.
outside. Again, the entire right side of that offensive line washed the KC defense to the inside and left it that way. It was really just the corner and the safety left outside to stop it. Good job there by that Kansas City DB to make the tackle. Otherwise, that could have been a huge play.
Absolutely. KP looking, finds a drag underneath, gets himself a solid 5 yards, and we get the 2-minute warning left with Kansas City up 24-7.
I mean, KP is somewhat moving the ball
Mm-hmm.
here. The problem is that he's made one too many errors here, and I mean, I know this firsthand. I lost I don't know how many games because I made one too many mistakes this season. But especially come playoff time, you make that extra mistake and you give an opponent who's very good an extra shot at the ball, it could turn into a disaster. He had
Yep.
time.
A tough
I don't
throw
know about
there.
that, Mr.
Yeah.
Krabs.
Tough throw there. I understand maybe the decision of trying to
Yeah,
get something, give a guy a one-on-one. I don't know, one-on-ones this year in Madden.
yeah,
If you get the bigger guy or the faster guy, you almost always win those. So we'll
yeah.
see. Comes out in a two-back formation, kind of that duo set there. Finds looking, and he throws another one in a contested coverage. Q's just not seeing the field very well right now. Some really uncharacteristic reads by him here,
That was
as he's going to
KP
look
who
to,
wasn't seeing it very
or
well, not
KP,
Q.
hey, doing the same thing that you
Hey,
were doing
we're
earlier.
both guilty of it. We're both guilty of it here.
um,
But yeah, no,
yeah.
I mean, that's just, to be fair, I don't think, like, again, that was a great job carrying that seam route by the tight end by the linebacker to where the safety had the chance to get back over the top there. I'm not, like you said, I'm not sure what KP was seeing on that.
He had a couple underneath routes as well. That last drive as well, where I mean, he threw that moon ball for an interception. Had another guy that was wide open, but
Yep.
he's just not taking his checkdowns and he's not looking underneath. I think he's just trying to score as fast as he can. But I mean, we all know there is no such thing out there as a 17-point touchdown. So he's got to take
Yeah.
his hits
I
and
mean,
roll with it.
that's the thing too, is like mentally, you're down 17. It's so easy to fall into the trap of thinking, "Hey, I need to
Hmm.
make a big play immediately." He was moving the ball well.
Yep.
There was no reason to force that.
Agreed. And now it's really worst case scenario for him at this point as QP is going to look to start driving and now he's in control. He's got a minute 20 left in the half. And he has an opportunity. I think if
Oh,
yeah,
what a spin! But
yes.
too bad he slipped while doing the spin move. Otherwise,
Yeah,
that would have been really good. But
it would have been great as he looks to hand it off again to his
yeah,
running back, bounces off of a guy, bounces off of another one, gets about 6 yards there.
yeah.
But again, uh, KP has to get a stop here to keep this
Yes,
manageable.
yeah, he has to get a stop here this drive. Like it is absolutely crucial that he gets a stop and doesn't allow QP to score points here. Like KP, if you're KP, you've been making uncharacteristic mistakes, and that's okay. But right now, you're in the danger zone. You have to find a way to get a stop here and put an end to this run.
Yeah,
Otherwise, QP gets the ball coming out of half. He has a chance to end it on his
yeah.
first drive of the half.
And this is a phenomenal play there, and I think K has to take a timeout here. 30
Good
seconds
user
left.
there.
Yeah, third and 13, and he doesn't take a timeout to try to give himself a chance to at least get a field goal here to close it out and maybe get the ball back. So now QP is just going to look, gets a completion, 1 second left, and that's the half as we
That was a
transition.
good user there by that was a good user there by KP before on the play before just now. Like that was a heck of a good user. He carried the seat that route by the crossing receiver just enough so that way he was able to get down on that drag route that was coming behind it
Yeah,
and also take that away. And that was what allowed his D line enough time to get through and get the sack.
agreed. So now we see here again, Q with the ball at the half. In total control here. I think any points here by Q, you try to take as much time as you can off the clock. But I mean, if he
Mhm.
gives you a shot, you got to take it. But just
Yep.
you're in control.
Yeah. I mean, KP is still in that danger zone here. Like, let's just be realistic here. QP has been able to move the ball pretty much all game at will. KP is still in danger here. If QP goes down and scores to start this half, yeah, I've
Yeah.
noticed that it's a little bit
Yep.
lagged. I've noticed
So,
if QP can score, I've been refreshing it every so often,
oh no, you're good.
so I've been
Oh,
kind of
and what
playing
a
off that data.
user! What a phenomenal play there with the switch stick by KP and just what he needed. Puts himself in a position inside the 20 to
Exactly
capitalize
right.
and get some of that
Exactly
momentum.
right. Hack of a switch stick there. Great job. That was a beautiful play.
Wow. I mean, that's what the Madden devs were probably thinking of when they first introduced Switch Stick is to make plays exactly like that. And he does a
Yeah.
phenomenal job. Now let's see if he can capitalize. As he comes out under center, two tight end, looking to run a stretch, keeps it to the right side, gets one block, gets outside. He's got a couple guys, spins back inside, and he only gets 3 yards.
A lot of work for a very minimal gain there,
Yep.
but great idea in theory. I mean, all the lot that second level, that whole second level was crowded toward the inside. Great idea on paper. It's just great job of pursuit there by QP's defense.
Absolutely. And as we see here, single back, got a nub tight end of the boundary, got two slants and a wheel, is looking, scanning. He has both of his slants are open, finds his first guy, and he's down to the 4 yard line.
Great job reading that there. Although, to be honest, I probably would have taken the outside slant there because
Yeah,
he had a lot more open field. But great job there making that read and getting that first down conversion, setting himself up.
absolutely under center here. Heavy formation. Looks to kind of pinball his way up there. Maybe had a little bit of a window, but he's down at the one. I think you just got to run it back here. I think he's going to try to go for the QB sneak here potentially.
And let me tell you, I hope people enjoy those being somewhat automatic on this year's game. I'm not sure they'll be that way in
Nope,
27.
nope. And he looks for the dive and again stops him short and actually loses a yard here. So now weird situation. Do you try to spread him out? Do you try to throw the ball? Kind of what would you be looking to do here?
I like to throw the ball.
Yep.
In this spot though, I'd really try to come out in some sort of spread formation, find a way to get him out of that goal line front, and then depending on what type of look he gives you defensively, then determine whether I'm throwing it or running it.
Yep, and kind of got a man tell there, and he's got an offsides, and he finds his man, and he drops the ball.
That's
That is
brutal.
just unfortunate there. Luckily, there
That
was a
is
penalty,
brutal.
so he gains a yard and he gets himself another
Yeah.
third down. But that is
Brutal
unfortunate.
drop, but oh man, he got lucky that that was offside. Yeah, but no, that was a brutal drop on that spot. I like the concept there. I like the call. You know your opponent is going to be doing something to try to stop the run here.
Yep.
It's third and goal from the one. Here is where you can really get tricky with like RPO meet with like some sort of formation that gives
Yep.
you a good look with a pass and a run.
And it looks like this might have to be a quick read. He's kind of in that 4-4 defense, and he looks to hand the ball off inside, and a great user by QP stops him at the one. To me, this is four down territory. I
Yeah,
don't know if I'm taking 3 points here.
I agree.
Um,
No, he's at that point now where he's down by so much and there's a little over a quarter and a half left. He has to go for this. There's no
no.
other option.
Yeah, and as we say that, he's going out there, kicks his field goal, maybe counting on his defense to maybe make QP make some mistakes. You know, QP's not a perfect man on offense, as we showed earlier, and he does turn the ball over. So let's see what he does here. One thing that we might see from Q, hopefully he sticks with his run game. If he doesn't, he's gonna let KP claw his way back into this game.
I wouldn't say he'll let him do that. He made one bad he made one bad read this game so far,
Yep.
but at the same time here, like he's really moved the ball at will for the most part all game. There's no reason to go away from that plan.
I would agree. So we'll see here. I formation, pro set here. Really a heavy run or play action formation here. So we'll see what he does as he has a fullback in here as well. Looks back, hands it off, little misdirection. Has a little bit of a lane, kind of stumbled a little bit, but we'll see kind of how it goes. And a bomber with a point as well.
Yeah,
That field goal does make it a two score game still, but
that does.
you
Yes.
also got to think as KP, you haven't really stopped him very well here, and he's gotten into field goal range almost every time he's had the ball. So that
Yeah.
kind of also plays a part of the game. But do
Yeah.
agree, 3 points does make it a two-score
Yeah.
game, but it forces your defense to clamp up a little bit more.
Yeah, I can see the logic behind trying to make it
Yeah.
behind making it a two-score game. And like the main reason I would say that you'd want to go for that though is because of how you have is because of again, you really haven't slowed QP down pretty
Yep.
much all game. So like you've got to I mean, on one hand you want to trust your defense, but on the other hand, just given how the game has flowed so far, I would also understand why you would want to consider going for it.
Yeah. Agreed. Third and inches here. We'll look to see what he does. Comes out, double tight formation, play action, gets the user on the backside and just has a free guy for a first down here. It's a really good use of that play action at this point in the game.
Yeah, great job there using that play action boot, getting the underneath defender and running it. Oh, and running it after the catch, just getting the first down. Great job moving the sticks.
So we go here under center, a little bit of a heavier formation. Looks to hand it off on the stretch, cuts back inside, gets a nice little bounce off, only gains 2 yards. And again, with this Madden already really in field goal range at this point
Oh
in the
yeah.
game. So
Oh yeah.
we'll see. Again, if you're Q, I think you have to continue to run the ball here and
Yeah.
force and force KP to force you to throw the ball. He hasn't done a good
Yeah.
job stopping the run, so we'll see what he
Yep.
does here. Shotgun formation, tight end of the boundary, two wide receivers to the field, looks back, drops back, looking, scanning, hits the whip route, tight coverage, but still completes it.
Yeah. Good throw there by QP, but just as good of coverage there by KP's
Yeah.
linebacker. I'm still almost mixing up their names, even though
Yeah.
we're almost three-quarters of the way through. But oh man. But no, I mean I get it why we'd want to run the ball here. I mean, you're up by 10, you're up by 14 here. But at the same time, I also am somebody who tends to be of the belief that when
Oh,
you're in rhythm, don't take
no.
yourself out of it.
And that's just one of those plays that's just been so unfortunate for KP. Has him dead to rights, and Herbert just
Mhm.
barely gets that ball off. Linebacker plays the ball, misses his man completely, and he gets a first down there. Those are just unfortunate the
Yeah.
plays that you need to have in a game like this to
Yeah.
be able to
He
compete.
even after the back caught the ball, he still had a chance to make the tackle. He was just barely out of position.
Yep.
And I mean, like you said, that's one of those plays that he has to start making, and his defense just hasn't made it.
Yep. At the end of the day, the team that makes the most amount of plays is the team that's going to win. And in Madden, that kind of is true, but it's also the team that oftentimes gets a little bit more help from EA often wins the game. And I think Q's had a couple times this game where he's had a little bit of a favorable outcome just with some of the matchups with the defenders, but he's still, not
Yeah.
to take away from anything, doing a phenomenal job of just driving the ball and running.
No, I agree completely. I mean, he's definitely gotten some help from EA, but for the most part, he's just executed a lot
Yep.
better. He's played a lot more cleanly, hasn't made very many mistakes, if any. I mean, the one turnover was a great play there by KP
Yep.
in order to switch stick it and take the ball away, but otherwise he's really played a clean game and has
Yep.
just out executed KP.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think as a user there, as KP, you look at some of those little plays, and that will drive you more crazy than maybe some of the bad reads that he's made. So we'll see. Hopefully he can kind of maybe get a stop here. I think you're hoping to leave this to a field goal, make it 17 points, and give yourself a chance entering the fourth quarter. But I think if you're Q, you just let this clock run down to zero, and he
Yeah.
runs the ball
I
here.
mean, at this point, QP has full control over the game.
Yep.
He has full tempo. Just make don't do anything that would open the door back up for KP to come back into this game.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
that's the thing he has to do is don't do anything that dumb that could open that door for KP to climb his way back in.
Yep. It's gonna take an uphill battle here for KP. Has to protect the ball, and he has to get some stops on defense. It's just he hasn't done a very good job at both of those, and that'll lose you games. So again, get a field goal here by Q, 10 to 27 game, 17-point game with 7 minutes left.
Yeah, and even then, it's not impossible for AP to climb back in this. All right,
No,
it's not impossible. The odds of it are very very slim. Like we're talking maybe 5%, but and that's at best.
yeah, as
But
five still generous. I'd probably put this at about a
yeah,
1%, but yeah,
I mean 28-3 was a lot worse if we're being honest. But
yeah, but
like no, it's like a 5% shot at best, but he still has a shot. He has to execute and get downfield quickly. But don't do so in a way that is taking a needless risk. Like there's
yep,
taking a good risk and there's taking a bad risk. And I feel like a couple of the times he's turned it over have just been needless risks
yeah.
when he had open guys elsewhere.
Yeah, just trying to throw the ball to guys who have been covered. So we'll see. Tries to run the ball there, and it gets an immediate block shed from the D tackle. And he's tackled for a 4 yard loss here. So looking to come out, likely going to just start throwing the ball a little bit more. Oftentimes you get late into the stage of the game, you're worried about your ratio and running the ball and making sure that you're not putting yourself in a position to break any rules.
Yep.
But he comes out on an empty set. He's got trips to the field with the tight end as well. So he's looking around, scanning. He has the seam on the left side. He finds his man, and a huge play gets up to the 46. Great read.
There we go. Great job there by KP finding that seam route. That defender who was lined up over and bailed toward the middle of the field
Yep.
that opened the window wide open. Great job seeing it and firing it in.
Yeah. Again, just try to give yourself easy reads. Try not to throw contested passes, as we see here. Comes out in a tight formation and gun. Looks, finds the guy underneath, and again, first down, gets out of bounds, leaves himself some time. It's a solid drive here for KP.
Exactly. You summed it up exactly how I would have summed it up as well. Like great job there taking the easy underneath read, getting upfield, getting the first down, and then getting out of bounds to stop the clock.
Absolutely. And really to come back to the weather. The weather really hasn't been as much of an impact as I expected it to be.
Yeah.
Guys are still running really well out there. I haven't seen a ton of slippage either from the guys. So again, KP looking, scanning, finds that delayed drag route underneath, and just as I say that, he goes to put a juke move on his guy, and he slips and falls. But again, first down.
Yep. I mean, again, the biggest enemy that KP has right now is the clock. Like you gotta keep an eye on it. You
Yes.
got 5.5 left. You're down 17. It's not impossible, but you gotta score it quickly here. And he's moving the ball well.
Yep. Again, finds a man underneath. Another first down, 6 yards to go. I
Yep.
think at this point you got to you got to put a little bit of pep in your step
Mhm.
to try to get this ball underneath. I'm surprised he's not going no huddle or anything along those lines. He's going to lose a
Yeah.
little bit of time here.
And I think QP is totally content to give him those underneath throws too.
Yeah.
Like at this point, he's totally content to do that. Let him get into the red zone, but let it eat up more of the time on the clock. And now when he's in the red
Wow.
zone, this is where he'll try to clamp down.
Yep, and a huge tackle there by his guy gets him down at the one. It's really that bend don't break defense. There's a lot of guys in the league that run that kind of defense that are just really good in the red zone. So they're happy to give you all those different ones. So again, 4-4 defense here. He's looking for that motion trap. Let's see how it works out. He gets that D tackle trap, but he runs into his own man, loses a yard, and now this is where the clock really starts to become an issue. Just going to be under 4 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, in all honesty, in this situation, you almost, I don't know if I'd say that you can't afford to run it there, but like, you got to do all you can to save yourself as much time as possible. And the longer it
Agreed.
takes you to score this first touchdown, the less time you're going to have later on.
And a fortunate time out there for him. Saves him a little bit of time as QP has an injury on the field. Again, don't love the back-to-back runs there. Not
Yeah.
really putting himself in a position to score. QP has done a phenomenal job at stopping the run this
Hmm.
game, so it's just a little bit of a questionable decision. As we see here, comes out on an empty set, has the halfback here to the left in the slot. Looks like he's going to motion him out into the flat. Looks like Q's manned up on him. No, he leaves him, finds his tight end. Touchdown. 3 minutes 34 seconds left. Potentially a 10 point game here.
He took such a long time though to get to get that touchdown, and especially down by the goal line. If
Yep.
you look at the amount of time he ate up down by the goal line there, I think he took a good like minute and a half to 2 minutes down by the goal line in order to finally get that score. He has a chance, but the window for it is now getting very slim. But great read though there by KP in order to get that touchdown
Yes.
pass. I'm not
Yeah. And I even thought to
disputing
myself,
that.
I thought it was a little bit of a late throw, but he found the window, and he was
Yeah.
able to complete that. So we'll see what he comes out in here. Again, 17-27. He needs to stop Q in this first 4 plays. If he lets Q get under really that close to 2 minute mark, it makes this significantly harder.
Yes. Agreed entirely. Like again, Q was completely content to give him those underneath throws. He was completely content to give him that, and that allowed him to get downfield there. But the big issue is that once it got down to the red zone, Q just Q's defense just got a lot more difficult to move it on, and I don't know that running the ball down there was necessarily the smart play.
Yeah, I would agree. And again, hands the ball off here. I think if you're Q, we expect him. He's probably going to hand the ball off 3 times, maybe twice in a throw, depending on the down and distance here. But
Yep.
uh, Q, KP's not going to take his timeouts just yet. He's probably going to wait till
Yep.
he gets close to that 2 minute mark. Uh,
Hmm.
but if he can keep him to a third down, he'll be in a good spot.
Yep. I agree completely. He has to get a stop on this sequence of downs, otherwise, it's just going to be way too little time left.
Yep.
I don't know what I think about this defensive alignment, but I mean, we know it's going to be a run, and
Yep.
yeah, it's going to be tough.
Pulled
I don't
his
know if it's
user off the
possible at this
line.
point.
Who's that guy that
Yep.
should really set that edge for him?
Yep.
So didn't really love him pulling him off, but
Left the
I
edge
understand
completely
it.
open for the running back. Yeah. I get it. I mean, it's a trip set to the left. You want to make sure that's defended, but in that spot, you got to think he's running the ball first.
Yep. We get down here, second and 11. Going to go down to the 2 minute warning, more than likely here. So, really, at the 2 minute warning in the fourth quarter, KP down 10 points. QP has run a really good game so far. Again, likely going to run the ball here on second and 11. No need to force anything downfield.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, the game's pretty much over, given how QP is able to manage the clock from here on out. It's not impossible, no, but it's a situation where just when KP gets the ball back, he's going to have to take some downfield shots, and QP is totally content to give him the underneath stuff
Yeah.
and force it downfield as we see another good run stuff there.
Yeah. Third and
But
10, a minute 57 seconds left here. K's got 2 timeouts. So he
Mhm.
could, in theory, get a stop here, have one timeout going into his offensive drive, which would be huge. But again, he hasn't really done a good job on third downs today.
He hasn't done a very good job on third, but I mean, this is the game right here. If you don't find a way to get a stop here, it's done. I don't know if I like this defensive set call.
Uh, It works out for him though. It gets a stop,
Yeah,
4th and 9 here.
worked
Forces
out.
that punt, and he's got just a little under 2 minutes. Likely going to have close to probably a 148-ish left or 147 left by the time he gets his ball back. So he's going to have a little bit of time to be able to drive down the field. He does have a timeout, so I think if you're K, try to find anything out as fast as you can. I also wouldn't be
Yeah,
opposed as if you get into field goal range. I mean, you're going to have to rely on an onside kick at this point. You
yeah.
know, do you?
You're gonna have to get an onside at
Yeah,
some point. It's just a question
exactly.
of when you take the onside kick and how much time you have left when you do so.
Exactly. And I think for me, I probably try to play the time game. Like if I'm in field goal
Yeah.
range early enough with time left, I'm going to take the field goal first, and then worry
Hmm.
about the touchdown afterwards because you're going to need it. So
Yep. No,
again,
completely right.
comes out in a bunch formation, finds a seam, and kind of overthrows the guy. You saw the yellow. I think if he puts it on him, he actually gives this guy a really good chance to be able to maybe break a tackle or at least get down past the 50-yard line.
Yeah, I mean, I like the decision there. I like the route, especially given the coverage called. The issue is that, like you said, it was a slightly inaccurate throw. Just led his receiver a little bit too far and allowed the safety to get back into the play.
Yeah. And again, incompletions are your best friend here at this point, especially if you're not going to
Yep.
get anything big. So a minute 39 left, has 2 downs left to try to get this first down, 3rd and 10. He doesn't have to get it all in once here. Put yourself in a position to have a short 4th down if possible, to really make
Agreed.
it
Yeah.
manageable.
Yeah, agreed. He's got to find a way to like get something going here. Just move the sticks, get it downfield a little bit, and then find a way to get out of bounds. You want to save that last time out if at all possible.
Correct. And then again, goes all verts, finds his running back out of the backfield, and he's going to his plays and taking a little bit of time here, which 4th and 3rd, I guess you want to pick a play that you really like instead of going no huddle, but just
Yeah,
killing a little bit more time than I think I would like at this point. Same
the
thing with that
clock.
drive previously to this.
Yeah, the clock is his greatest enemy given the situation here, and I just don't think that taking a ton of time was the best way to do it.
Yep, it gets first down, finds his man across, and again, going back to the playbook, no huddle here for him. He's just gonna kind of continue, pick his plays, and drive down the field.
He's
Uh,
taking so much time
uh,
though.
I will
Don't feel
say,
great
at this
about it.
point in the game with Madden, at least the clock
Yeah,
doesn't like you don't the clock doesn't kill you just yet. But again, he loses time. 49 seconds left. He has two seams. Looking back and
yeah,
forth between the two, and I think he's good. He's gonna try to take a shot here, and he gets sacked. I think at this point you take your time out.
yeah. He
Yep,
has to. You have
yep,
to take the time out here. That was a great job by QP of carrying that right side
yeah,
seam down the field using the user and basically blocking it off.
yeah. Because he had a window. If he didn't take that guy, he had a window there. So again, comes out
Yep.
an empty, trips to the boundary, has two seams, has another one. That defender comes right straight through him, pretty much almost unblocked. 38 seconds here, looking a little slim for KP. 3rd and
Yeah.
26.
I mean, at that point, I feel like pre-snap he should have taken the extra like second or two in order to set it to like a base protection or something because you know that in this spot QP is going to be stunning. He's expecting a pass, so he's going to do some sort of stunt. You have to find some way to try to negate that rush if at all possible.
Yep. And KP pretty much just calls it a day, hits that draw, and it looks like this game's going to come to a close at 17-27. Kansas City coming out victorious and really just having control of the entire game.
Yeah, great job by QP taking control early and taking advantage of the mistakes by KP. In all honesty, his defense really helped him establish that big lead, made a few big plays, taking the ball away from KP to the point where even when KP made one big play on defense, it just wasn't enough.
Yeah, it was a rough one there. Again, GG's to these guys. It's a great game. QP advances. He's done a really good job. Maybe Herbert is his guy that can maybe take him to the promised land that he's been looking to get to for some time. So, again, appreciate you joining me here, Z. I hope you have a
Mhm.
fantastic day, and thank you everyone who joined for this afternoon. So, catch you all later.
Yep, you too. I'll see everybody in a few hours.